Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. We must start this off. Before we get into the rest of the video, you guys have probably already saw the title. We are going over who should be the Women's World Champion. And why we're going over who should be the Women's World Champion is because last night on Monday Night Raw, we all have received breaking news that Naomi and Big Jim are having a baby. Congratulations to Naomi, who was doing some of the best work in her career, is now having a child with that boy Big Jim. Congratulations to her and Jimmy Uso, and wish them all the best. As Naomi was putting in pain, Big Jim was doing his own thing on SmackDown, and I can't wait for them to return. I love the fact that she stayed in character while she was giving this very emotional speech. This is an emotional moment. And then she said she was going to relinquish the championship, and she said that she will be back in 9 months. And when she is back, we all must proceed with caution. I'm very excited for Naomi to see what she comes back to do, because she was putting in pain. She was putting in pain as your Women's World Championship champion, and I cannot wait to see where she goes from here. But that does make things interesting, because before this news, Naomi was scheduled to fight Stephanie Vaquer for the Women's World Championship next week at Clash of Paris. Now, who is going to fight Stephanie Vaquer? Is Stephanie Vaquer still the #1 contender for the title, or is it somebody else? We have 1 week until Clash in Paris. Where do we go from here? Because there's not really a women's match that's scheduled for Clash in Paris. You don't really have anything scheduled for the women. Even if you go to SmackDown, you look at Tiffany Stratton, she's not fighting anybody. The women's tag team champions, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, they'll probably be announced for Clash in Paris Friday in SmackDown in Ireland. But other than that, they're not scheduled to fight anybody. So that brings you to this question of, where do we go from here? And it's very interesting. It's a very interesting concept, because to me, I think what you do is, I think you have a gauntlet match for the Women's World title at Clash in Paris. I feel like it would be a big moment for the women to have a gauntlet style match in a stadium in front of a very rowdy crowd like they are in France. And I feel like that would provide big, like, holy shit moments. And I think you could do that and then also put some steam and then go into a new story and a new direction with the Women's World title, while also continuing to tell the stories you're trying to tell within the women's division already. So, for example, you do have one person who could win the world championship at any time. That person is Mrs. Mommy Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley can win the title just like that, and everything's okay. Rhea Ripley is one of the biggest stars in the women's division today. She is absolutely one of one. She is a dog in that ring. She is one of the best women's wrestlers on the damn planet. And if it's not one of the best wrestlers, because, you know, that's subjective and some people may not agree, you can't argue she's one of the biggest stars in women's wrestling today. Rhea Ripley could 100% regain her Women's World title. Absolutely. But then you also have Io Sky, which they're already entangled in a storyline with Asuka and Kairi Sane, which is looking like Asuka's going to turn heel. So with that, Io Sky obviously can go take back the title. She never lost. She could obviously go back and go get that belt. Is that likely as of right now? No, because I can honestly see them doing like a tag team with Rhea and Io. And I feel like that's a crazy matchup between Rhea and Io and Charlotte and Alexa. That would be crazy, because they're really telling this story of divide between Io, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. So I'm excited to see where they go with that, but it's not likely. Now, I will say, I do have other options. This option may be a little crazy. Y'all gonna have to walk down. Y'all gonna have to walk with me. Somebody who I could see if WWE really wanted to take a chance on someone and maybe give the title to somebody brand new. Chelsea Green. What if Chelsea Green was your women's world champion? And I know people are probably looking at me like, Chelsea Green? Bro, just hear me out. I know it's a hot take. I know it's outrageous. Well, listen, hear me out. Chelsea Green is one of the most entertaining wrestlers on the damn show. She's hilarious. She's funny. And most importantly, she stands out. She's different. In a world full of, in the wrestling world where a lot of women who genuinely don't like the Divas era, they normally they always talk down on it in the bra panty matches and da-da-da-da, which is, I get it. I 100% get it. I'm not even blaming them. Chelsea Green really is a diva. She's really a modern day diva. She, that little butterfly belt, that's Chelsea Green. I've heard her say it on record that I'm a diva, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I feel like she could, with her comedic twist and the secret harvest, I feel like she would be a really good champion. I really think she could do it. This is a hot take. This is very out there, and I understand that it's out there. But do I really think Chelsea Green could be your women's world champion? Yeah, I do. And honestly, I think we would enjoy it a lot because she's wildly entertaining. And she's very good in the microphone, very good in backstage segments. I think she could pull it off. That's just one of my out there takes. Next person on the list, obviously, Stephanie Vaquer. Stephanie Vaquer is a dog in that ring. An absolute dog. Stephanie Vaquer can easily go and win the women's world title because she is very popular with the fans when she hits that devil's kiss with them Booker T sound effects. She's very talented. She's very a dog in that ring. And the matches she could have with Io Sky, with a Rhea Ripley, and with the rest of the women's division on Monday Night Raw, I think Stephanie could be one of those in one of those big spots. Especially when you have women like Nikki Bella and Becky Lynch, who are in your mid-card division. I think that's a perfect spot for them because they're elevating that title. So when you have the top of the card, you can put more prominent figures in those top spots of the card. And why not take the chance on somebody who's young, talented, and who's an absolute dog in the ring like Stephanie Vaquer? Definitely can see La Primera being your women's world champion. And then, finally, the final person who I could see as your women's world champion, and honestly, it's the most likely to be your new women's world champion, the prodigy, Roxanne Perez. Listen, her role in Judgment Day, she's been cooking it. She fits very well in Judgment Day. And then this can all go, and what if she's submitted or she wins to get into this gauntlet match or anything like that? She could win the world title, and this all would still fit into Finn Balor's plan. Obviously, Finn Balor is being the devil's advocate of the Judgment Day. Roxanne has been forcing herself on Dom a little bit, Finn has been enjoying that, getting her in, getting her comfortable. They keep asking about Liv, and Finn's all like, don't worry about it. I'm saying no. What if Roxanne wins the world title, holds the world title all the way to let's say the Royal Rumble or something like that? What if Liv Morgan returns as a babyface? What if Liv Morgan wins the Royal Rumble? And what if Liv Morgan chooses to face Roxanne Perez for the title at Mania? It's very possible. And even if they don't face for the title at WrestleMania, Liv and Roxanne could definitely get to WrestleMania by themselves. Because also, you want to talk about the work Raquel Rodriguez has been doing ever since she hadn't had the thing with Kevin Nash. She's been hella elevated. Worked so well. What if Raquel sides with Roxanne over Liv and you tell that story? I feel like this is all being set up to turn Liv Morgan back babyface, and I do think it can work. And more importantly, I think it works best if Roxanne now becomes the 22, 23-year-old prodigy, becomes your women's world champion. That's my list. Those are my people those are my options on who could win the women's world title. Let me know who you guys have winning the women's world title, because we definitely do have a lot of options. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Forever gang. And until forever finds you, peace.